What is going on, everyone? My name is the California Cougar, and welcome back to another baseball video, or Major League Baseball related video. Today, I'm going to talk about the first half of the season and what I think could happen in the second half of the season, including playoff predictions. Who would I give the Cy Young to? Who would I give the MVP to? In both the American League and the National League in the first half of the 2021 season. Also, I'm going to be going over the most surprising team and the most disappointing team of the league or of the year so far. So, yeah, let's get right into it. So, I'll go over the standings really quick. This is coming right out of the All-Star break. I believe baseball resumes today. I haven't checked yet, but I believe it resumes today. So, starting off with the American League East, in last place we've got the Baltimore Orioles. In fourth place, the New York Yankees. In third place, the Toronto Blue Jays. The Tampa Bay Rays in second, and then in first place, the Boston Red Sox. In the American League Central, we have Kansas City in last. We have Minnesota in fourth place. We have Detroit in third place. So, yeah, Royals, Twins, and then the Tigers. And then the Cleveland Indians in second place. And then leading that division is the Chicago White Sox. So, and now in the AL West, in last place, we have the Texas Rangers. And then we have the Los Angeles Angels. We have the Seattle Mariners. And then we have the Oakland A's. And then finally, the Houston Astros are leading the way in that division. So if the playoffs were to start right now, the number one seed would be the Houston Astros. I did check. Houston is winning the season series over Boston, so even though they have the same record, Houston would technically get the number one seed. And second, or in the number two seed, we would have the Boston Red Sox. Number three seed, the Chicago White Sox, right behind them. And then the first wild card spot will go to the Tampa Bay Rays, and then the second wild card spot, the Oakland A's. So, yeah, Tampa Bay Rays, Oakland A's, they're those two teams, like small market teams. They just love to stick around. Like, even if it's only a wild card spot, those two teams tend to stick around quite a bit. I wouldn't be surprised if they are the two wild card teams coming in. And then, of course, we have the White Sox. I think everyone expected them to do well. The Houston Astros, yeah, despite the cheating, like they're out here to prove something. They are out here to prove that they don't need the cheating to be an elite team. And so far, they've done a pretty good job of that. And then we have the Boston Red Sox. We'll talk about them a little bit more in a bit. But, yeah, so starting off with the... Actually, I won't get to it quite yet. Yeah, I will. So starting off with the most surprising team... Actually, no, I'm going to do that a little bit later. But anyway, starting off with the Cy Young. So I'll start off with the awards, who I think would win the awards in the first half of the season. So starting off with the Cy Young. So the Cy Young, obviously that's for pitchers. Who is the best pitcher in the American League this year? It's a couple choices you could go with here. I mean, Shane Bieber, I guess, is kind of one of them, although he's been hurt. But Kyle Gibson, he's an underrated pitcher, and I think he's a guy that could easily win the Cy Young if he keeps it up. John Means is another pitcher I thought about giving it to, but he's been hurt for the last month and a half, so it's kind of hard to give it to someone when you don't have a big enough sample size like that. But John Means, I would say, is an honorable mention. Again, I already kind of mentioned Kyle Gibson. He's been one of the most underrated pitchers this year. An ERA hovering just over 2. A whip hovering right around 1. Like, he's been awesome. And then, of course, you have Garrett Cole, who I think is also an honorable mention. Obviously, one of the best pitchers in baseball. Even if he did use sticky stuff, which I think he did, I think it's pretty clear that he did, especially based on that answer to that one question about spider tack. In that interview, I don't know if anyone really saw that, but yeesh. But, yeah, anyway, I think if I had to pick one pitcher, it's really tough. There's a couple of White Sox pitchers that you could give it to as well, including the one that I am going to give it to, and that's Carlos Rodon. I'm going to give it to Carlos Rodon. I think Carlos Rodon is a guy that's been very surprising this year. Lance Lynn was also somebody I thought about giving it to, but in the end, I went with Carlos Rodon. He's been very surprising. I don't think was he even a big name before this year, and then he threw that no hitter. It was almost a perfect game. I think a hit by pitch in the ninth inning it cost him the perfect game, but he still got the no hitter. So yeah, he's been a beast this year. He's got an ERA right around 2.3, about the same as Kyle Gibson. I think his WHIP is even better. I would have to double check that, but yeah, Carlos Rodon, American League Cy Young for sure. Rookie of the Year. Not a lot of contenders for American League Rookie of the Year, but there are a couple, I would say. I actually have to look up the name of the pitcher that's been playing really well. But, yeah, like one honorable mention, I will say, I would say is Randy Arozarena. Like somehow, I guess he qualifies for Rookie of the Year this year. He was the guy on the Rays that had that amazing postseason. Like, amazing postseason. Hit like 10 home runs or something ridiculous like that. So, yeah, like he's definitely an honorable mention, and he could be somebody that wins it. But if I had to give it to somebody, I would definitely say that one pitcher. Oh my gosh, I'm actually looking at ERAs right now. Lance Lynn has a 1.99 ERA. Maybe he should get the Cy Young. But I want to give it to Carlos Rodon. Carlos Rodon is someone that I think is super underrated. But for AL Rookie of the Year, Adolis Garcia. That's the name that I was trying to think of. Adolis Garcia. He's actually not a pitcher. I was thinking of the National League. But yeah, Adolis Garcia. He's been hitting super well this year. He's got 22 homers, 43 RBIs. He's hitting right around 270. Has a few stolen bases as well. Or actually, no, he's got 43 runs, 62 RBIs. I was looking at the wrong stat. But yeah, obviously he's been playing really well. I think he is deserving of Rookie of the Year. Randy Arozarena could get it, but for now, Adolis Garcia gets my vote. So now, moving on to the AL MVP, and I think this one's pretty obvious. There's a clear second place pick, and there's a clear first place pick. In second place, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. The guy is having a monster season. Like, he's hitting over 340, I think. He's hit 28 home runs. He's got a ton of RBIs, ton of runs. Has a chance of winning the Triple Crown this year, I think. He has a strong chance. Unfortunately for him, I think he's going to have to win the Triple Crown and possibly even more in order to win the MVP. Because right now, in first place, the MVP is clearly Shohei Ohtani. I mean, there's nobody even close right now. Shohei Ohtani is just absolutely mashing at the plate. He's got 33 homers right now, leads the league in home runs. He's hitting 260 or 279, 65 runs, 70 RBIs, 12 stolen bases. Yeah, the guy's having an absolute insane year. Oh, and did I mention he pitches too? Like, he's pitching at arguably a Cy Young caliber level. Like, yeah, his ERA has dropped off a little bit, but especially in Angel Stadium, I think he's just beasting it on the mound. He's going absolutely nuts. So, yeah, I think it's pretty clear. The Cy Young, or not the Cy Young, he's pitching at a Cy Young level, but the MVP of the AL is clearly Shohei Ohtani right now. He might just be the second best player in baseball right now behind Mike Trout. He's that good. He seriously is. So, yeah, that's my picks for the AL. As for who I think is going to make the playoffs, now, keep in mind, this is who I think is going to end up in the playoffs. Or this is what I think is going to happen. I think in the American League East, I think Tampa Bay is going to win it. I think the Red Sox are going to slow down at some point, and they're going to drop off a little bit, and Tampa Bay is going to end up taking over. There's something about the Rays that just, like, they're so good. And I guess for Manager of the Year, I guess you could give it to Kevin Cash, although I think the Red Sox, I actually don't know who the Red Sox manager is, but I think whoever that is, I think would clearly win it this year. But yeah, I'm not going to get too much into that. But yeah, I think Tampa Bay will end up winning that division. And I think the Astros will end up winning their division, and I think the White Sox will clearly win their division. The AL Central is kind of weak right now outside of the White Sox. So yeah, I think that's what I'm going to go with. And then I think the two wildcard teams, I'll stick with Oakland and the Red Sox. I think I think the Red Sox will be the 4 or the first wild card. I think Oakland will be the second wild card. I think Boston would win that wild card game, even though I think Oakland's a good team. I think Boston would win it still. And then I think the Rays would win that matchup against Boston as the number 1 seed. I think the Rays are going to be number 1. I think the Astros will be number 2. And I do think the Astros will win that. And I actually think the Astros might go to the World Series this year. They're that good. They're having a monster season. They could be the number 1 seed in the AL, but I have them at number 2 right now, but I do have them in the World Series. They're out here to prove something. So I got to commend them for that. So now, moving on to the National League. So, right now, in the National League East, we have the Miami Marlins in last place. Then we have the Washington Nationals in 4th. The Atlanta Braves in 3rd. The Philadelphia Phillies in 2nd. And then the New York Mets in 1st with a measly 47-40 record. Yeah, not a great record, even though like they're winning the division. Kind of a weak division, if you ask me. In the National League Central, we have the Pittsburgh Pirates in last. Then we have the St. Louis Cardinals in 4th. We have the Chicago Cubs in 3rd. We have the Cincinnati Reds in 2nd. And then we have the Milwaukee Brewers leading the way. Another division that's kind of not really all that strong. The National League in general, outside of the National League West, which we'll get to, National League in general really isn't that strong this year. I mean, the Brewers have strong pitching, but that's about it. Their offense isn't that great, I don't feel like. But anyway, moving on to the National League West. In last place, we have the Arizona Diamondbacks. In 4th place, the Colorado Rockies. In 3rd place, the San Diego Padres. In 2nd place, the Los Angeles Dodgers. And in 1st place, baby, my San Francisco Giants are leading the way. Yeah, we'll talk about them more in detail in a little bit when we talk about the most surprising and disappointing teams. But, yeah, the San Francisco Giants are somehow leading the way. I don't know how they're doing it, but they are doing it. So, good on them. They were a team that I thought would be super mediocre, but, yeah, they're surprising everybody. So, yeah. Now, as for the awards, I think this one's a little bit more clear in terms of who's going to win the Cy Young, Rookie of the Year, and, Rookie of the Year maybe not as much, but, I mean, Cy Young for sure, and MVP, maybe the MVP isn't as clear, but, I mean, the MVP, I guess it's like a two-way race, I guess. But anyway, starting off with the Cy Young, I want to give it to Kevin Gausman. I really want to give it to Kevin Gausman. He's been so good this year. He's got an ERA hovering around 1.7 or something ridiculous like that, which is the second best in the majors. It's the second best in the majors. Like, he's been disgusting this year, and if it weren't for one other pitcher, I think he would win it easily. With that being said, it's clearly Jacob deGrom. He's the clear Cy Young winner of the first half. He's been so good. He's got an ERA hovering around 1, and until his last couple starts, I mean, it was hovering like right around 0.5 or something ridiculous like that. The dude's just been unhittable. Like, no one can score runs on him. I don't know how he's doing it, but it's not human. It's really not human. Not to mention, he's actually hitting really well at the plate, too. I think his batting average is still around 300 or so. Might even be higher than that. Like, he was hitting around 400 for a while. Like, he's not hitting any home runs, but he's hitting for contact. So, yeah, like, the dude's been insane this year. His whip is well below 1. His ERA is right at 1, pretty much. He's striking out a lot of people. He's been injured for a time, but he's still pitching at an insane level. He's going to win the Cy Young if he keeps this up for sure. The NL Rookie of the Year. I decided to go with Trevor Rogers because Trevor Rogers, like, he's been disgusting this year as well. His ERA, I think, is somewhere in the 2s. He's a rookie for the Miami Marlins, and like, he's pitching at an all-star caliber level, arguably a Cy Young caliber level. He might even be a top 10 Cy Young vote getter this year. Like, he's really that good. He's having an insane season. I can't wait to see what he does in the future for the Marlins. Hopefully the Marlins don't trade him because the Marlins really need pitching. I mean, Yeah, they've got a couple good pitchers in there. Sixto Sanchez could come out and be really good. Sandy Alcantara has been solid, but Trevor Rogers, man, he's proven himself to be an ace of that staff, and I think he deserves Rookie of the Year for the first half. And yeah, like you could give it to somebody like a Jonathan India or like I don't even know who else is there, but yeah. Alex Cora is managing for the Red Sox. I didn't even know the Red Sox rehired him. Maybe that would explain things because he actually is a good manager. But yeah. Anyway, now moving on to the NL MVP. You could go with Jacob deGrom here. I wouldn't argue with that. But my pick is Fernando Tatis Jr. The kid is so good. He steals bases. He hits home runs. He's a guy that loves to have fun playing baseball. I admire that, even though he's on the Padres. And I'm going to have to watch him for the next 14 years absolutely massacre the Giants. And it hurts, but the kid is an absolutely disgusting player. He's just mashing behind the plate. His average is right around 300. He steals bases. He walks a lot. He doesn't really strike out a whole lot. He's an absolute beast. The only problem with him is his defense. Like I think he's produced the most errors out of anybody this season. But that aside, offensively, like who cares about defense if you're mashing or if you're mashing at the plate offensively? So yeah, Fernando Tatis Jr. for sure. And then for manager of the year, I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this. I really can't. But Gabe Kapler for the Giants, like he's done something that I did not think was possible for Gabe Kapler. We saw what he did with the Phillies for 2 years before he came to the Giants. Like, he absolutely collapsed, and maybe he'll do that again. I hope to God not, but I'm not going to, like, knock on wood that he doesn't do that. So, yeah, but Gabe Kapler for sure. So, with that out of the way, let's get into playoff predictions. So, winning the National League East, I do have the New York Mets. I think that pitching rotation is really good. They've got Taijuan Walker pitching well. Marcus Stroman has backed off a little bit, but he's still very good. And then, of course, they got Jacob deGrom. In the Central, I've got the Milwaukee Brewers. I mean, that 1-2-3 punch in their rotation of Brandon Woodruff, Freddie Peralta, and Corbin Burns has just been absolutely sick this year. Those three are going to make the Brewers a scary team come playoff time, and they're going to be a very, very tough team to beat, I think. And then in the National League West, I have the Los Angeles Dodgers, unfortunately. As much as I want to pick the Giants, I really, really want to pick the Giants. I'm just afraid they're not going to maintain their current momentum. Like, I'm just really afraid they're not going to maintain their current momentum that they have right now. I think they'll make the playoffs. I do. I actually have them as the number 1 wild card team. I think they're going to be the first wild card team. But the Dodgers, they're a tough team to beat, even with the Trevor Bauer stuff happening right now. Like, all the allegations against him, they're still going to be a tough team to beat. They're too good to not win that division. As much as I hate to say it, because I absolutely hate the Dodgers, but that's just what I think is going to happen. So yeah, Dodgers winning that division. And as I said already, the first wildcard team, I think it's going to be the Giants. I don't think they're going to collapse too hard. I don't really see much of 2016 in this Giants team, where they had an amazing first half and then they just collapsed in the second half, ended up with the second wildcard spot. I don't really see that with this team. I think this team is going to keep their momentum up, even if they have just a 500 season for the rest of the year. Like, so they've played 89 games so far this year. They have 73 games to go. Even if they play 500 baseball, they go 36-37. That's still 93 wins, which I think will be more than enough to make the wild card game. And then I think the second wild card team, I think it's going to be the Padres. So that's what I have there. The Padres are a very good team. That's what I have in the National League. I think the Giants will beat the Padres. They played the Padres very well. Unfortunately, I think that's where their run ends. I think the Dodgers will move on to the NLCS. I think the Brewers will beat the Mets. I just think they have the better pitchers, and the Mets have almost no offense outside of maybe Pete Alonso and maybe a couple others. But yeah, I mean, they've scored 327 runs in 87 games so far this year, which is like the only team that scored fewer runs than that in the National League is the Pirates. Even the Diamondbacks, who have been the worst team in baseball this year by far, by a mile. They've been the worst team in baseball. They still have more runs than the Mets do this year. So, yeah, I just don't trust the Mets offense to carry them past the Brewers, especially with that rotation. So that would lead us to Dodgers-Brewers, and I think the Brewers can take it. I really think the Brewers are going to be able to take it and go to the World Series. I really think the Brewers will be able to take it. Like, their pitching rotation's really, really good. I mean, they've had a series against the Dodgers already, and they won 3 of 4 games, so I think that proves that with a great rotation, like, they can stifle an offense as good as the Dodgers. Like, yeah, the Dodgers have good pitching too. They have, like, if Trevor Bauer comes back, he's really good for them. Walker Buehler, been really good this year. Cy Young candidate. Clayton Kershaw, bit of a down year, but still, he's Clayton Kershaw. So, yeah, I do think the Dodgers have a chance, but I have the Brewers taking it. I really think the Brewers can do it. So, yeah, Astros-Brewers in the World Series. And then I do think the Astros would win that matchup, but it would be close. I think it would go to 7 games, and I think it would be very close. So, yeah, that's what I've got. Now, as for the most surprising, most disappointing teams, most surprising, I think it's pretty obvious. There's really only 2 teams. Like, yeah, I guess you could make an argument for, actually, I don't know, maybe the Astros, because everyone thought that they were going to fall down a little bit, but they've been really strong this year. And maybe the Rays. You could make an argument for the Rays, I guess, because they traded Blake Snell in the offseason. I think a lot of people thought they were going to fall back a little bit, but they've still been really good. So, but yeah, I mean, I didn't really expect them to be that bad of teams. I expected them to still at least be contenders, maybe wild card teams. But yeah, you could argue that they were surprising. But I mean, the Red Sox I think is the most surprising team in the American League. Alex Cora has brought them out of the depth that they were in over the last 2 years. They've been absolutely amazing this year. And they did this without Mookie Betts, who they traded a couple years ago, and without Chris Sale, their best pitcher, who has been out with Tommy John surgery. So, yeah, like the Red Sox, easily the most surprising team in the AL. But in the NL, in the National League, and in baseball overall, come on. If you had told me at the beginning of this season that the San Francisco Giants would have the best record in baseball at the All-Star break, I would have laughed right in your face. I would have called you a 0 IQ nut job who doesn't know baseball at all. Well, here we are. Look who's laughing now. The 0 IQ nut jobs that apparently know nothing about baseball that bet on the Giants to be the best team in baseball at the break. They're cashing in, and they're the ones laughing now. So, yeah, the San Francisco Giants, easily the most surprising team of the year. Easily. I don't think anybody expected them to be higher than 3rd place in the National League. Some people probably picked them 4th, honestly, like behind the Diamondbacks. But I don't think anybody expected them to be as good as they are, at least so far this year. Again, knock on wood, that they don't epically collapse in the second half. Hopefully Gabe Kapler doesn't pull a typical Gabe Kapler and do that, but yeah, he's been amazing for them. Farhan Zaidi, he's done something good for this Giants team, and hopefully they can make a playoff run this year, and if not this year, then next year for sure. Like, they're going to make some acquisitions at the deadline. They need bullpen help. Hopefully they can get a closer. I think Craig Kimbrell would be a great add for them if they can land him. And maybe another starter as well. I mean, the rotation, I'm still skeptical about the rotation. Gosman's great. DeSclafani's been amazing. Alex Wood's been very inconsistent. Same with Johnny Cueto. Logan Webb, I mean, he's coming back from injury, so who knows what's going to happen with him. Aaron Sanchez, if he ever comes back, what's going to happen with him? Yeah, so maybe like another pitcher would do well for the Giants, but we'll see. We will see what they do. Now, the most disappointing team. I mean, there's a lot of teams here that I don't think lived up to expectations. First of all, the Diamondbacks are an honorable mention. I don't really think anyone expected them to be more than like a 500 team, but wow. They've been one of the worst road teams this year. They went on that 24-game road losing streak. And yet somehow, some way, they're not the worst road team in baseball. Somehow the Rockies have a worse road record than they do. But, I mean, still though, the Diamondbacks are awful this year. A couple of other honorable mentions. The Cardinals. I think a lot of people expected the Cardinals to be way better than they are this year. Yeah, they've been hit hard by injuries. Miles Michaelis has been on the IL. Jack Flaherty's been on the IL for quite some time, but still. For a team that picked up Nolan Arenado and absolutely fleeced the Rockies for him, like, I would have expected them to be winning that division. At the very least, second place. But no, they're in fourth place with a record below 500. So, yeah, like, I don't know what's going on with the Cardinals. Hopefully they can bounce back and maybe have a better second half. They got like a 20-game stretch where they have like, they're playing the Pirates, the Tigers, and I think the Royals, so they better win at least like 12 or 13 of those games. If they don't, they're in trouble. But yeah, you would think a team that went and picked up Nolan Arenado would be doing way better than they are. But they're not my most disappointing team. Another team you could argue for is the Nationals, especially with the rotation that they have and with how good they've been the past, or how good they were 2 years ago. The Atlanta Braves. I almost went with the Atlanta Braves. They're 44-45 at the break, and they just lost Ronald Acuna Jr. for the year, torn ACL. That sucks. That kid was so good. So yeah, bad for baseball that he's not going to be playing. But even without him, with a lineup containing Ozzie Albies, Freddie Freeman, Marcell Ozuna. Granted, Marcell Ozuna, he's been out with a finger injury, and of course he has those legal issues with him. So he's been unreliable this year. Yeah, but it's their pitching. Their pitching's been horrible. I mean, Mike Soroka is pretty much out for the year. He retore his Achilles. He never even pitched. So, yeah, obviously he's not going to play. Max Fried's been disappointing. Ian Anderson's really the only one that has been solid for them. But again, they're not my most disappointing team. Actually, for most surprising team, I completely forgot about the Mariners. They're playing good baseball right now. They're above 500. But yeah, back to most disappointing team. Another team I almost went with was the Yankees. The Yankees, they're just swinging for the fences. They're not living up to the hype at all. They're 46-43, fourth place in the division. They're not playing good baseball right now. But easily the most disappointing team this year is the Minnesota Twins. They're 39-50. I don't know what's going on with them. Their hitting's not doing all that great. Their pitching's terrible. Kenta Maeda's been disappointing. Jose Barrios, I don't know what's going on with him. I don't even know who else they have in that lineup. But yeah, they've been horrible this year. 39-50, nowhere near the playoffs. Fourth place in the division. Worse than the Tigers, who are expected to be one of the worst teams in baseball, if not the worst team in baseball. So, yeah, very disappointing to see the Twins not play well this year, especially after 2 years ago I believe they hit the second most home runs out of any team, maybe the first, I don't remember. But yeah, that's pretty much it for my first half analysis of the 2021 Major League Baseball season, along with some predictions for the second half, awards for the first half. Who do you guys got for the rest of the season? Who do you think's going to make the playoffs? Who do you think's going to win the World Series? Let me know down in the comments below. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video, and make sure to subscribe to my channel for more videos to come in the future. Again, I think my upload day, I might do Saturday, honestly, because, maybe not tomorrow, but maybe next week. I'm looking to switch my upload schedule just because work is kind of getting a little bit more busy for me. So, yeah, I'm looking to move to Saturdays because I know that I don't work on Saturdays at all. So, yeah, look out for Saturdays for videos to come in the future. And make sure to subscribe to my channel for more content to come in the future. And until my next video, once again, my name is the California Cougar. And always remember to stay California cool. Peace!